Hey guys, what's up? It's Mr. M, and I'm coming at you for day 3 of patterns, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's our last day, but I think it might be one of the best days because the lesson for today is one of the most important lessons that you'll be taking with you in life. It's something that we at Irish talk about a lot, and it is perseverance. We talk about it a lot as a growth mindset, but really what we're talking about is when things become difficult, being able to carry on and find that struggle, but fight through it and succeed in the end. There's a lot of stories about this. There's a famous one that you probably all know, the tortoise and the hare, about slow and steady wins the race. But I want to tell you guys a little story about a place that I went to. It's called Shangri-La, and it was built by this guy named Henry Miller. And Shangri-La is in North Carolina, and I went there with my friend. His name is Weston, and he took us there. And it's this place that is built entirely out of little stones. So there's all these little rocks because Henry Miller, he used to work as a stonemason. He would always have all these little stones, and he collected the stones. And every day when he was done working, he would take little pieces of stones and he would stack them up. And over the years, these little stacks of stones became houses and gas stations and churches and garages and all these he ended up building a tiny little village, and with over 27 different buildings. And it's just amazing to see this place. I'm going to show you some pictures of it because Henry Miller, what he was doing is he was persevering. So he was little by little, he was making a town. And it's something that I like this analogy a lot because you can't just do it all at once. Perseverance is not about just like building a town in one day. It's not about just solving a math problem without trying. Perseverance is about the struggle. It's about the little stones that you take and you build. And eventually, in the end, after a lot of time and a lot of hard work, you end up with something beautiful. And that's why I like the analogy of Shangri-La. So in math, perseverance is super important because no matter how smart you are, in the end, there's going to be a time where you're going to have a moment of struggling. You're going to have a moment where you're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know how to solve it. And it's not just going to be something that comes easy. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're Albert Einstein, this happened to him too. And what you need to be able to do is to find those moments, those struggling moments, and persevere. To say, I can still do this. Even though I don't understand it now, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to struggle through. And I'm gonna make sure that in the end, even though it might be hard, I'm gonna have that growth mindset. And it's super important because math is about to get a lot harder. And as we're ending the end of 5th grade, um, you're moving into middle school. This is the mindset that we as teachers want you guys to have. And I know I've talked a lot about this in school, but this is something that I want to talk about on these videos a little bit too. So today we're going to be working on a problem that's putting together a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about. We're going to be doing patterns. We're going to be doing coordinate planes. We're going to be plotting points, and we're going to be comparing those things. And it's not easy work, but it is work that if you continue to work at it and get better at, it's something that you can see that success. So let's persevere. Let's get to it. I'm going to show you guys the problem on the computer, and we're going to talk about it, and then you guys are going to go and do some of your own problems today. So let's get at it and start building our own Shangri-La. We're going to be talking about a real world problem that happened just a month ago. For Mrs. Granados' birthday, we were trying to decide how to celebrate, and we were torn between 2 different options. One was the bowling alley, and the other was the roller rink. And one of the factors into making our decision was how expensive it was going to be. So I'm going to bring up those numbers and we can take a look at them. Then we're going to graph those numbers and it's all going to make a little more sense. So let's go right on into the problem. I'll bring up the screen.
So before we even begin, I want to let you guys know that there was 10 of us that were trying to go out and celebrate for Miss Granados. And let's start with the bowling alley. So the situation at the bowling alley is it costs $50 to rent 2 lanes. And for every person, it would cost an extra $10 after that. So $50 just for the lanes and then $10 a person. Let's take a look at the roller rink. The roller rink, you don't have to rent any lanes, but it does cost $20 a person to use the roller rink for the night. So we have these two different number sets. One, there's a fee and then less money per person. And then the other, there's no fee, but then it's much more expensive per person. But the question for you is which is more expensive? And to solve this problem, it's going to be a 2 or 3-step process, and we're going to be needing to use our perseverance. We're going to have to persevere through the whole thing. So the first step is to get all the data points. We need to go through and make a T-chart with one side being the bowling alley and the other side being the roller rink. And then once we have all those data points, we're going to need to take that and put it into the coordinate plane. So let's get started on making our T-chart. All right, so here we have the super awesome chart of awesomeness. We have a number, the number sign for the number of people. And then we have the BA stands for bowling alley and RR stands for roller rink. So we're going to start by just going through each line, and let's start with one person. So if one person was going and we were going to the bowling alley, remember it costs $50 plus $10 a person. So 50 plus 10 is 60. And at the roller rink, let's get out our purple pen, it costs $20 a person. So one person costs 20. All right, let's move on to 2 people. We're just going to go through this little by little. Maybe I'll just go through and fill in all the numbers for the number of people. And we'll just do to there. Okay. So bowling alley, 2 people. That's $50 plus $10 a person. And that's 2 people. So it's going to be 70. I think as we start to go, we're going to start to see patterns. So at the roller rink, it's $20 a person, 2 people. 20 times 2 is 40. So far, we have some numbers going on. All right, let's go to 3 people. 3 people at the bowling alley. $50 plus $10 a person at 3 people. That's $30 plus 50, and we get 80. I think you're already starting to see what my next number is going to be. I bet you could tell me. You could scream at your computer and tell me. So what is 3 times 20? That's 60. All right, let's go and see. 4 people at $10 a person is $40 plus 50, 90. Did you get that right? Do you know what the next number is going to be in that one? At the roller rink, it is 4 times 20. That's 80. 20, 40, 60, 80. Let's go down our list a little bit. Okay. Get our pen back out. 5 people. 5 people at $10 a person is 50. 50 plus 50 is 100. Oh, and would you look at this? This is a big number. 5 times 20. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Look at that. At 5 people, both numbers are the same. So what's going to happen after this? Let me fill in a few more numbers. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So as you can see, maybe I'll just take this as a second to zoom back up. So we're counting by tens, right? Starting at 60, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. We're just counting by tens. We can go through and fill that out pretty quick. Maybe I'll just go do that real quick as we count by tens. 110. Don't even have to do the math. Now that we found the pattern, we don't have to do the math. 120, 130, 140, and 150 if we have 10 people going. Let's see. Let's make sure we know what the pattern is for the roller rink. It's counting by 20s and starting at 20. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So we're just going to keep counting by 20s all the way down, and we don't need to slow down too much. 120, add another 20 to 120, 140, add another 160, add another 180, add one more 20, 200. Awesome. Look at that. We have, it may not be the prettiest looking chart, but we have a chart and it is there, and all of our numbers are inputted, and it looks pretty good to me. So yeah, I think one of the most important numbers that's popping up to me is at 5. And if we look, remember, there's 10 people that were going on this trip. And the question was, what is more expensive? So you could answer that question right now. That is going to be the bowling alley. 150 is less than 200. But what I want you to do today, because one of the topics of the day is perseverance, is we're going to take these numbers and we're going to keep going with these numbers to get more information. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take these numbers and we're going to input them into a coordinate plane, and we're going to graph them. Because I think once we look at the numbers, there might be some new things that pop out to us. So we're going to keep persevering and move on to graphing these two data sets on the same coordinate. So here we have the beautiful coordinate plane. And you can see the one with the red squares is the option of us going to the bowling alley. And the one with the purple circles is the option of us going to the roller rink. And on the y-axis, we have the cost. And on the x-axis, we have the number of people. And the two lines are similar in a lot of ways, but there is two noticeable things that I'm noticing once we have this graphed out. Is right at the start, if you look at the bowling alley graph, both start at 0, 0, and the bowling alley one shoots right up. And if you look at how fast that goes up, that's the reason. That's the extra money that you have to pay just for renting the lanes. And then it's increasing, but it's not increasing at quite as steep as rate, right? So it's actually half as steep. And when we look at the roller rink, it's just going steadily from the bottom left quarter to the top right. And that point right there at $100, right in the middle of the graph, is a pretty interesting point. That's the point where the graphs cross. And if you were to look at these graphs, you would know, if you extended them out farther and farther, that they would never cross again. Because the bowling alley graph, even though it started out really fast, it's not going at a steeper rate, and the roller rink graph is going just off the charts. And you could imagine that if you took your brain and imagined that both these lines continued on, they would never cross again. So those are the 2 points where they cross, at 0, 0 and at 5, 100, which is great. So the question you might be asking is, did we go to the bowling alley or did we go to the roller rink? And the answer is neither. We ended up doing something totally different. So sometimes, even when you have all the information, you can make the best decision, but the best decision that day was to do something totally different.
So that does it for today. I want to thank you guys for working so hard this week yet again and persevering, because that's what that's what you've done, and that's what you're gonna need to continue doing. So thank you. And I know that all your teachers are super proud of you. And I say have a great weekend and enjoy the nice weather. And I'll see you next week for some more math. All right. Bye.